What's good, my people? Welcome into Buckets, Action Network's daily NBA betting podcast. We're in a workshop Friday NBA slate, the playoff slate. It's 2 games. I got 2 of the best with me, Brandon Anderson, BA, the guy that could see into the future, and Bryan Fonseca. I am your host, Sean Little. We got a bunch of stuff to jump into. 2 full games. Shout out our boys over at Underdog. Cleveland Cavaliers lose 2 at home. Let's see if they can get a win in Indianapolis. Number is 2.5 mostly in the market. Total 229.5, minus 2.5 in favor of the Cleveland Cavaliers. And then the Oklahoma City Thunder are minus 4.5 in Denver. Total 233.5. We'll talk about both games. Friday, payday. So let's get some people paid. Brandon Anderson, give me your best bets for the 2-game playoff slate.
Yeah, I got 2 in each. So starting with the Cavs game, I'm going to take Jarrett Allen under on the rebounds, under 11.5 boards. And then I'm going to make a futures play here. Give me Cavs to win game 3, but lose the series. Plus 300 at DraftKings. Cavs to win the game, but lose the series. And then the other game, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander over 6.5 assists and Russell Westbrook over 12.5 points.
Bryan Fonseca, best bets for Friday.
All right, we have Donovan Mitchell over 29.5 points, because what else are they going to do? Andrew Nembhard over 18.5 points plus assists, and the Cavs first half minus 1.5 against Indiana. And then in the other game at night, Jalen Williams at plus money over 10.5 rebounds plus assists.
I'm going to go with the Cleveland Cavaliers. There's a minus 2 in the market as we record this Thursday, May 8th, 11:55 on the West Coast, because I'm on the West Coast. So that's what time I'm using, 3 p.m. on the East Coast. There is a minus 2 in the market. It's a minus 2.5 is widely available. I still like it and would bet it at minus 2.5, but I'm going to take the best number at my disposal here. I'm going to let my guys do the most of the legwork with the plays. I'm just going to come in, keep it simple, play Cavs, and I'm going to lay the small number. All right, Brandon Anderson, I'm coming back to you. Let's talk overall about this series, because you do have a futures play on it as well. So we could, I guess, start there and get into a little bit of that handicap. But Halliburton miracle. First of all, I thought it was hilarious, boys, seeing all these like money line parlay tickets. They're like, see, play the underdog. I'm like, dude, you needed 3 miracles to have this ticket come in. It's the perfect, the perfect storm to cash that money line parlay across the board. But I've talked to a lot of guys that bet just as much as we do. A lot of people have been getting slaughtered in this second round of the NBA playoffs. Brandon, talk about this series. Pacers win the first 2, now go to Indy, are still underdogs. Is the number right? Is the series price right? What do you make of it? Did we not take into consideration Garland's toe being that big a deal? It was kind of like game 1, they brought it up on the telecast. It's like, yeah, it's worse than we thought. The swelling's not going down. Cavs minus 10.5 in game 2. It's like, and oh yeah, and by the way, Mobley's not playing. And oh, by the way, Ty Jerome's going to have the worst game ever, but Hunter's going to be out as well. And we kind of just shrugged it all off and we're like, yeah, Cavs going to come in, take care of business. And it looked like that for a second. Talk to me about overall how you feel about the Cavs, the series, them being down 2-0, and then we'll get into the props.
Yeah, I had to really dig into this one because, like, all throughout the season, I've been a little skeptical about the Cavs. Like, not really. I was in on the Cavs coming into the season. I had Kenny Atkinson, Coach of the Year. I had Evan Mobley, Defensive Player of the Year. Like, I was ready for the regular season version of this team. Then they exceeded even my best expectations, rolled to the 1 seed, and then I was like, okay, readjust for the postseason. Am I sure about this team? And I had them a clear level below Boston. I had, coming into the playoffs, Indy 3, Cleveland 2 in the East. Sorry to the Knicks. We'll get to that another time. But I thought Indy was really right there in a same tier with the Cavs. Then we did the work for the series preview, and I was like, man, you know what? The Pacers are pretty good at a lot of things, the Cavs are a little better at mostly all the same things. And I came out just Cavs in 5, Cavs in 6. I think the first thing is this. Darius Garland, look, he didn't play. Bryan, what did he miss the last 2 games against the Heat last series?
Yeah. So he hasn't played in 4 games.
Misses games 3 and 4, and then has another whole week off, right? Because the series is that much later. So I don't know that you can really fault us. Like, we got to do our preview work a few days before the series. We didn't know he wasn't playing. Like, we have reason to believe he's been out, 10 days now, 2 full weeks on a toe injury. Like, come on, man. It's the playoffs. Put a Band-Aid on your toe and play some basketball. Like, what's happening right now? So I think that was part of it. I came out of game 1 saying, okay, the Pacers made 50-something% of their threes. The Cavs missed everything. You know, the Pacers made a couple big shots late. They pulled away. It happens. You get the bounce back in game 2. Okay, well, then the next day, the news comes out, oh, Evan Mobley is hurt. Oh, DeAndre Hunter is hurt. I'm like, all right, well, they'll probably play her, right? Like, you got to win. It's a must-win game. No, they're all sitting, we find out, an hour before the tip. But then we barely found that out. And you get the first quarter, it's 32-15 Cleveland. It's like, oh, all right, well, you know, Indy did the whole, we got one of the 2 on the road. We'll take the split. We'll go back home. We've all watched so much basketball in our lives. You fill in the blanks really quickly. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, we know what's happening here. You're kind of tune out a while. Suddenly it's it's 12, it's 10, it's 8. They're making a run. And then you get to the last minute and they just throw the entire thing away. If you zoom out to all that, here's what I think the reality is. If we knew going in, hey, Cleveland, you got no Darius Garland the first 2 games, and you're losing Mobley and Hunter for one of those games, and you come out 1-1, I think they'd feel pretty okay with that. I think that would be a pretty okay result, and they were 1 minute away, 30 seconds away from doing that. Now, they didn't. They're 0-2. But process-wise, I think splitting, even at home, given those injury circumstances, is not such a bad outcome. So what does the process tell me? The process says Cavs shot horrible threes both games. This was the league's number 1 offense all season. Number 1 in 3-point and 2-point percentage. We've seen in all the series. You miss threes sometimes. The Pacers made their threes. So that's been a huge disparity both ways in both games. Importantly, in game 2, here's what really stood out to me. The Pacers jumped from 44% on 2-pointers in game 1 to 58% in game 2. Why? Evan Mobley was out. That's why. You lost your defensive player of the year. So of course they shot much better than inside. Meanwhile, the Cavs dropped from 60% to 35% on 2s. Why? Evan Mobley was out. He's been really good offensively also, and you took away some of your easy buckets, your offensive rebounds, your close stuff by the basket. You add in, since Garland is out, Ty Jerome is doing way too much Ty Jerome stuff. Ty Jerome was 1 of 10 on 2s in game 2. My man, pass the ball. Stop with the 18-foot floater. It's not happening right now. So, Sean, we don't know right now, do these dudes all come back in game 3? It's 2 whole days off. It's been 2 weeks for Garland. Mobley and Hunter seem like they're possibilities for game 2. I have to assume as a capper, down 0-2, I'm expecting these dudes to play. I think probably all 3 of them. So I see a lot of reason to have some hope for the Cavs. Those 2s, those percentages should go back the other way. To me, the Cavs are winning 3 of the 4 factors. They're losing EFG by a landslide, and that's the most important one, so they're down 0-2. Well, they're forcing turnovers. That's a big deal. Indy has not turned the ball over a lot this year. Hallie and Nembhard had 8 turnovers last game. That is becoming a big problem for them. They're forcing turnovers. They're hitting the glass. They're dominating, or at least winning in other ways. What they're missing is a talent gap, because Mobley and Garland have been out. So I came to all the end of that process and thought, okay, I actually feel like I might need to buy in on the Cavs. How do I invest in the Cavs? I actually think that they are live to win some games and still make a series of this. So I built the whole model. I did the whole math to say, okay, what if the Cavs win the next 4? What if they win 1 and then lose, then win the next 3? All the way down, all the different possibilities, beautiful mind over here. And I'm getting all the math out. Here's the bad news, Cavs fans. I have you favored in every game the rest of the way, except a slight underdog in a road game 6 elimination spot in Indy. Still pretty close to 50-50 in that game. And even with my optimism in the Cavs, I still can't find any prices out there to bet the Cavs to win the series. Like, the pricing still can't come in their favor, even with me feeling kind of optimistic about them, because it sucks to go down 0-2 at home, it turns out. That's really bad. You don't want to go down 0-2 at home. So that all played in to my bet, my futures angle on the series. I do like the Cavs in game 3. I'm assuming that they come out healthy. I'm assuming that they're playing with the season on the line. They're the 1 seed. They're the number 1 offense. They're still the slightly better team than the Pacers. I would still pick the Cavs to be the Pacers in a new series right now. So I'm picking the Cavs in game 3, but they're down 0-2, and it's not a new series. And so I have to like the Pacers to win the series, and I like the combo at 3-1 because I get a little bit both sides. My numbers came out at, for the series, Cavs 30% to win the series, almost right on the number. And I had Cavs game 3 series at 27%. So Cavs to win game 3, lose the series. I'll do the math for you. That leaves 33%. So 1 out of 3, that would be plus 200. We're getting plus 300. So there we go. Cavs win game 3. Cavs lose the series. Brian, your Cavs first half on this one, right?
Cavs first half, not trusting the full game, as has been demonstrated.
Last time.
This played out with Celtics Knicks last night, where I had Celtics first half, and I was like, man, I just don't want the sweat in the fourth quarter, and we could see why. Now, if I did Celtics first half, Knicks full game, then I'm sure that would have been like plus 500 both of these games. But anyway,
really quick to put a button on some of the numbers that BA laid out.
Yeah.
Teams up 2-0 in the best of 7 have won 92.1% of the time. Teams up 2-0 on the road doesn't happen very often.
No.
Record is 30-5 though. So
who are the 5? Do we know who the 5 are? I know one of them.
There's a couple LeBron, I think, series maybe. I know that Chicago, Boston was one of those.
Yeah, there's a Bulls Celtics one from like when Jimmy was there and Isaiah Thomas was a Celtic, like that era, where I think it was 4-2. Actually, I think Boston just won the other 4.
They did. There will be no Chicago sports slander today of all days when the Chicago Pope has been elected. It's a great day to be a Chicago and Cubs fan.
I need to look up that Pope because I want to,
Yeah,
I don't know much about him.
Yeah, do your research and come back and give us an eye test on.
I think Brandon knows already. I think Brandon could just tell us also.
Yeah, like
Brandon loves him.
Leo 14's bringing the goods. He's from Chicago. He's a Villanova grad, so that might be good news for Knicks right now. Like everything's coming up Villanova. Maybe it's already been in the works the last few days, and that's why the Knicks keep winning all these games. I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about my Boston futures after we got that news.
All right, let's get back to it. Fonseca.
Yeah.
Talk to me about, Brandon set the table pretty well. I think I'm on Cleveland in game 3. I think regardless of whatever the injury looks like, I think that's the best way to go about it, is that Mobley and 2 of these 3 have to go, I think, at some point, and this would have to be the time. Now, I'm betting full game, still grabbing that 2 that's in the market, because as soon as the injury, as we record this, injury report's not even out yet, not yet submitted. If it comes up that they're probable or these guys end up going, I think the number goes to 4.5. So I have to jump on this too. If I'm leaning that they go, I'm going to gamble a little bit with the injury report. And overall, we know the story with role players being better at home. I get it. Sam Merrill played really well. Max Strus shot it really well from deep. Split that in half. And to go back to Ty Jerome, that might be the worst game he's ever played as a pro. He was brutal in that game. And the only guy that could then produce offense or do anything productive was Donovan Mitchell. And salute to Donovan Mitchell, man. Whatever seems to be necessary, he's stepping up and doing it. That was a fluke they lost that game. Evan Mobley was missed in more ways than one. As soon as they gave up the offensive board, before Halliburton went back to shoot the 3, my first thought was, damn, Evan Mobley grabs that rebound. This game is tucked away and done. Before Halliburton even shot that, I was like, damn, they really needed Evan Mobley on the floor in that specific spot. So I'm going to gamble a little bit with the injury report. I think those guys come back into play. I think you don't need Strus and Sam Merrill to shoot it as good as they did, but you can split that in half. Say instead of almost pushing double-digit threes, they hit 4 or 5 combined. You get a better game overall balanced from Ty Jerome, and Donovan is going to be pushing 50 PRA, it seems, every night until Darius gets back. And still, that could be in play. I have to lay the couple here with the Cavs. And everything seems to be going opposite. You drop 2 at the crib, so I guess you go to Indy, and this is the spot where you win if you're one of the superstitious folks and want to play it that way. But I think overall this sets up for the Cavs. I think also, I don't know what the fuck happened in game 1. They just looked like they weren't ready, and they were smelling their own shit and felt really good coming off demolishing the Heat and weren't ready for what the Pacers brought. But when they were dialed the vast majority of that game too, and just kind of collapsed a little bit late. I think a more balanced attack with a couple guys coming back, regardless if it's in Cleveland or Indianapolis. I'm going to lay the couple points, and I think it's a really good spot for Cleveland to get a win and get back in the series. I'll lay the couple. Fonseca, overall, I had to sneak my quick cap in there. How do you feel about the series? How do you feel about what Brandon and I just laid out? Did you expect to be here?
No, I'm kind of annoyed because I had Cavs in like 6 and 7, and it looks like the Pacers might just get this one. I didn't think we'd be staring at a Knicks-Pacers Eastern Conference Finals in 2025, making me feel like it's 1999 or some shit. But like this, it's not definite, but history would back that up. I would also say though, if there are 2 teams that can potentially like get in the way of this, you would think it'd be the Celtics and the Cavs. The Cavs have to be healthy to have a shot to do it, and the Celtics just need to not play like idiots, and maybe they'll have a chance. With Cleveland, so this is a report from Danny Cunningham from out in Cleveland, Locked On Cavs, 92.3, all that stuff, just to establish some measure of credibility here. But he reported that Kenny Ackes is at today's practice. So at the time we're recording this is actually from less than an hour ago. Kenny Ackes said that today's practice was more of a shoot around than a real practice, but Darius Garland, DeAndre Hunter, and Evan Mobley all got reps. Nothing was live, but they all did something. Darius Garland is the one that I'm like, you need him a little bit more than I thought, because Donovan Mitchell he's having to do a lot, and I kind of expect that. I think there's a chance, for me at least, that Mobley and a Hunter play. Garland is the one I'm worried about whether or not he plays the most, just because his injury's been lingering. And Sean, as you said, now it's reportedly worse than feared. And it would have been nice to know that before game 1, because then I probably would have thought of game 1 differently. Although I did sprinkle on like Pacers game 1 Cavs series, but now the Cavs series portion of it is now looking great. But yeah, I think Donovan Mitchell over 29.5, and I have Cavs first half. I'm expecting a similar start at least. Maybe not the first quarter exactly, but the Cavs basically, like, Donovan Mitchell's going to will them to a good start offensively, or at least he should. Indiana has a legit home court, though, and Indiana is not just going to be a team that lies down. I think Indiana in all this is still underrated, because I think people are looking at this like, how do they keep getting away with it when they look like a super legit, like, can maybe get to the finals type of team. And I think people think this is still the Pacers from last year, where they had no defense, and their defense is better. They're more balanced. They still play fast, but they don't play as fast as they did last year. Like, they're a more balanced version of what they were demonstrating last season. So I think people should like recognize that. And this is why I was worried about them in the series. But ultimately I picked the Cavs because I was like, if healthy, the Cavs would take this, but I thought it'd be a long series. But Donovan Mitchell, he took 30 shots last game, and he took 21 free throws. I don't know if both those things are going to happen again. The 21 free throws, I'm not sure, but I do expect him to be on the floor a lot. He might have to take 30 shots if they're shorthanded again, but even if they're healthy, I think he's going to take 20 plus. And 29.5 is just low. Like, I feel like he might have to get 35, 40 every single game. Like, I should have went, like, because I had over 27.5 last game and 30 plus, and I was like, man, I should have went 40 plus, because I had this feeling like he might do it, and he ends up getting 48. So I think they're in a spot where this has to happen. And then real quick, Andrew Nemhard, 18.5 points plus assists. So he's been hitting this a lot. I'm actually like pretty stunned that this is low, considering like I don't know why this is only at 18.5. It's just one of those where I'm like, wait, you're not even giving out 20. Fine, I'll take it. Like in the playoffs, so against the Bucks, he's 17-5, 17-6, and he has just one under in game 3, and everything else has been over. 20-2, 15-6, 23-6, 13-13. He's in the 20s every game. So this is just an auto bet for me unless he just completely falls off. Andrew Nemhard is really, really good. He's a playoff riser, and I think he's better than his regular season numbers show. Because people think he's one thing in the regular season, but no, to me, he's going to be a most improved player candidate next year again, and I'm probably going to lose money on it because he's not going to showcase anything until the playoffs, I'm sure.
And Nemhard handles the rock more than people realize, I think, when it comes down to looking at the prop board. For example, Halliburton scored the first bucket of the game and hit the 3 to win it and finished with 17 points. So, like, there's a lot of stretches here where he's not as active as advertised, I would say is the best word. So Nemhard, playoff riser is, and excuse me, Halliburton had 19. So not 17. Playoff riser is a good word for Nemhard. I really like his game, and he's been contributing quite a bit. Go ahead, BA.
Well, and I'm curious too. I was just texting Matt Moore about this just before we came on the pod. So Nemhard had 13 assists last game. Piqued my interest because I'm on Halliburton to lead the series in assists, and suddenly Nemhard is leading after 2 games. Nemhard's up 2 right now. Hallie had, I think, only 4. So why? What happened? Why did the assists go that way? Because if you notice, Nemhard had 13 assists, but he also had 8 turnovers. That's a lot of turnovers. Like, I actually looked ready to play Nemhard over on turnovers. The line is over 1.5. The problem is he's gone under 1.5 every other playoff game so far. So that to me screams outlier. Something happened in game 2, and I had the chance to go back and look at the film more. Is the something that happened, Hallie kind of hurt his wrist early in the game. Is that what happened? And it just meant more Nemhard doing stuff. And did that inflate the assist numbers and the turnovers numbers? Or was this a Cleveland defensive decision? Did Cleveland say, you know what? Hallie's not beating us, not scoring or passing. We're getting the ball out of his hands. Go ahead, Nemhard, do your thing. 13 assists, 8 turnovers, we'll take that ratio. We'll live with both of those results if we're going to get it. That could make a little sense to me too. Again, it was working until it didn't work in the last minute of the game, if that was a strategic thing. So I don't have an answer, so I'm not playing yet. I may end up putting like the turnovers into the app if I feel better about an answer. I'm interested though, because it plays a lot into assist leader for the series, which I've got a big Halliburton position on. And Halliburton is the leader, or the presumed leader, in the round for assists. And if it's not Halliburton, and you can bet that market, like at DraftKings, you can bet just leader of all players this round to get assists. Suddenly that market opens up and leads into my play on the other game. So I'll come back to that later, a little teaser. My other prop on this one.
Wait, really quick, BA. Really quick, BA. Just to go back to game 2. Usage for Nemhard, 25.3%. That's the highest of the 5 starters.
I like that.
Halliburton down at 14.3% usage in game 2.
Yeah, you mentioned the 19 points. I was out for game 2, so I was playing catch up on this. No catch up in Chicago, but I was catch up on that day. So going into the 4th quarter, I checked in on the score, and Halliburton had like 2 or 3 assists and like 6 points or something. Like, even what he did have came all toward the end. I was texting people like, what's happening? Is Hallie hurt? What's going on right now? And yeah, it was a lot of Nemhard, and even what Hallie did do came late. So I don't know. I think that's interesting. And to the point too about Ty Jerome on the other side, the thing with all the injuries on Cleveland is the cascading effect, because if Garland plays again, not only do you get Garland back, but you get Ty Jerome bench player back, which is also a big cascade because you've removed Ty Jerome starting effectively player. He's not starting, but he basically is. You get that out. Ty Jerome gets to play worse players now because he's playing with the bench unit, hopefully with DeAndre Hunter. Indy's bench is supposed to be a big strength, especially at home. That's typically a strength. Suddenly, if you get Ty Jerome and Hunter back in the bench and make that a Cleveland strength, that flips things again. So, suddenly Mobley is playing. Okay, great. That means a little bit less Dean Wade, who's a very nice role player, but not Evan Mobley. So it's not just these dudes coming back, but especially in the Ty Jerome instance, I think it's putting him back in the role where he's thrived in the 22 minute sort of role, not the one where I'm taking 10 twos and missing all of them each game. So I think that too, that's a little bit the Halliburton Nembhard thing. I'm like, okay, we got less Halliburton. It meant more Nembhard. Was that good or bad? I don't know. It's great for Brian's bet, but I don't know about, like, Brian, let me ask you this with your bet.
Sure.
Because I'm going to make a position on mine. With your Donovan Mitchell points over, it seems to me I want to get that bet in right now before the injury news comes out, right? Because injuries, ruling guys out can only make you like that prop even more and the line goes up even more, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah, so your Mitchell bet, I think you want to play now. I'm going to lead that into my play because my play I'm not playing now just yet. I want the injury report. Jared Allen under 11.5 rebounds really is a Mobley play. This is a Mobley back play because in game one, Mobley and Allen were not great together. The numbers were pretty ghastly from all like the Cleveland beat guys. And from the regular season, that played a little bit out as well. More so in that Jared Allen just was not good in the two big lineups. And Jared Allen in game one was not great either. Last game, he had 12 rebounds. That's a great total. Allen had a really nice game, actually. Played a lot of good defense in that game, but Mobley was out. He still barely cleared this 11.5 rebounds line. He went over by the hook. 25 rebounding chances. Game one, he had 7 rebounding chances. He had 5 boards in the game. That is not working for him because it's Miles Turner, really, that's causing the problems. He's pulling Allen out away from the basket. That's not a place that he's going to succeed in. 3 games this year, counting game one, Mobley and Allen will play together against Indy. Mobley's averaging 19 and almost 12 rebounds in those games. Allen's at 13 and under 8 rebounds in those games. And it's 17 rebounding chances plus for Mobley, under 13 for Jared Allen. So if Mobley plays, I really like this Jared Allen under. I will probably even look if there's like an alt under, an under 9.5, 8.5 sort of thing. He's really been going under this number quite a bit. I think even too, I played Mobley rebounds leader on the series before we started. He obviously is not in great shape now. He missed a game. He's got 10. Allen's at 17. Turner's 19. If you like Cleveland to push the series long, if we get a long Mobley number, I don't think he's dead there. I think he could come back still and end up taking that one. So I may look for that as well. But the main play here, if Mobley plays, wait to put it in, Jared Allen under 11.5 rebounds, minus 125.
Well, to play a little devil's advocate, that number has to move as soon as Mobley is announced. Yeah. So would you gamble with it a bit? And play it now?
So that's the thing is like to Brian's bet. If the line, if Mitchell's is suddenly getting, the line's going to jump 2-3 points maybe if suddenly Garland and the guys are out. Like I want to get that in now because I feel pretty good about the 30 points for Mitchell, even if those dudes are all playing. He just can't get stopped against this team.
Right.
For Allen, like how far down is it going to go? A rebound probably. It's not going to like suddenly tumble way down. Mobley's lines are up already right now. So I have to assume books like us are thinking Mobley's going to play. If he's out, the line goes up to at least 12.5. And I don't really want the under anymore because that's where he's been playing well. So to me, because I feel so strong about the under, I don't mind waiting and, oh no, well, we got it at under 10.5 now. Like I still feel good about that number enough that the information of Mobley definitely playing is worth me finding out about that in this case. But it's a good question for sure.
Underdog is one of the best places to make picks during playoff basketball. While they score buckets, you score cash. Underdog is one of the leading sports apps, and you can play right now in your state. Their app has over 100,000 five-star reviews and millions of players. To play, all you have to do is download the app and choose whether a player will go higher or lower on one of their stats. You can choose from things like points, assists, and so much more. Once your picks feel good, you can play with as little as $1. If you get everything right, you can win up to 1,000 times your money. as we were talking about, our guy Brandon Anderson likes Jared Allen lower than 11.5 rebounds. Bryan Fonseca likes Donovan Mitchell to have higher than 29.5 points. Download the Underdog app and sign up with promo code BUCKETS100 to unlock a special offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code BUCKETS100. Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms and conditions apply, void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text Next Step to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. We're back. Let's get to the West Coast in Denver. Talk about the Thunder and the Nuggets. My guy, Big Waz. Me and Big Waz talk basketball all the time. I have been stuffing the Thunder down his throat for about 5 months, and I've been telling him how they're going to win the West, and they're going to cruise. I've been saying this for months, and I've been putting my money where my mouth is. Multiple tickets on the West, or on the Thunder winning the West. Game 1 happens. Waz texts me and goes, I told you your boys aren't a juggernaut. Well, the juggernaut was back in game 2, and they absolutely dusted off the Nuggets from start to finish. For me, it wasn't one of those games, as we talked about in these other series, where, hey, we split home court, we're just going to pack it in and get back to Denver. I think this is a bad matchup for the Nuggets. I've been saying that from the beginning. I think the Thunder have more problems with the Clippers. We can argue about that another time, but we're here now. And I think this is a really bad face-to-face matchup for the Denver Nuggets. And I think it shined brightly for a majority of game 1 and all of game 2 from start to finish. Brandon, I'm going to come back BF, I'm going to come to you. Talk to me about Jalen Williams over 10.5 boards plus assists, and then let's sprinkle a little series talk in as well.
Okay, so for whatever reason in the playoffs, they made this at plus money for this game, to which I jumped on it immediately. These are the rebound assist totals that Jalen Williams ended up with in every game in the playoffs so far, 6 games. The first 4 against the Grizzlies, the last 2 against the Nuggets. 11, 11, 11, 9, 11, 11. He just always gets to 11 pretty much. So over 10.5, I'll take it. Like, the floor is basically always around this area. It was a prop that I would play in the regular season at times too, where he just always tends to have at least 4 or 5 rebounds and at least 4 or 5 assists. And often he'll get 5 and 1, 6 on the other, 6 and 1, 5 in the other, sometimes 7, sometimes 4, 2, whatever. 5, not 2. 5. If it was 2, I wouldn't be talking this prop up. But this is just kind of what it is. And then with Denver, I mean, Nikola Jokic is a great rebounder, but other than that, who are you really worried about in terms of keeping him off the boards consistently? Yes, like he won't get an absurd amount of potential rebounds because on his own team, you have Isaiah Hartenstein, for example. But Chet Holmgren is not somebody who's going to pull down 20 rebounds in a game yet. He's not at that point of his career. Maybe he never will be. I don't know. And from a playmaking standpoint, like Jalen Williams' playmaking has been a consistent thing. Like he gets 5-ish assists per game. He has the ball more than people think. It's not just Shai Gilgeous-Alexander just doing everything. And he had a great game in game 2 from a playmaking perspective, getting 7 assists. So this is something I think could continue. It's one of these props that I've just liked. It's been sneaky. A lot of people here, for example, at Action also really liked just straight up his assists in that last series against Memphis, which was often at 4.5, which he often would get 5, 5, 5, 5. And there was a game with 6. Like, this is just what it is with Jalen Williams. It's like you get a high floor. The ceiling is not, it's not something you want to ladder necessarily, but the floor is always high enough to where you're always going to be in range. And to me, that makes me feel encouraged, even in a road setup here, because I think this series is more competitive than I think maybe some people are expecting. And I'm not just saying that because Denver won game 1, but I still think OKC is going to finish this off. And I kind of like this matchup for Jalen Williams, at least as it pertains to things beyond just scoring, although he did score the ball well last game.
Yeah, he bounced back. I mean, he had a bad game 1, bounced back in a major way in game 2. BA, give me your thoughts on Jalen, J-Dub. Does he have to show up like he did in game 2 for these guys to continue to roll? And then let's talk through a couple of your other plays. Shea and Russ.
I don't know that J-Dub has to be what he was in game 2. I think he has to be not what he was in game 1. I think the problem in game 1, as much as anything, was that J-Dub and Chet did not show up and were not good in that game. And that's where things really went sideways, other than the last minute, things really going sideways. Again, with OKC, like nobody expected them to give away game 1 like that. So it really caught us all off ground because of the game 7 thing. But to me, the takeaway, like game 2, it's hard to do much with game 2 because like the numbers are so outlandish. So it's like, okay, all the props got ruined, right? Because like all the minutes are off for the guys. And what do you make of it when you get all these like, half of the game is an exhibition, 3/4 of the game maybe. Like it was over after the first quarter and actually really over for once because that's how you beat teams, OKC. Unlike all the other teams in this round, you keep your foot on the gas and just keep running off the court. The takeaway for me is not something from the game. The takeaway is we saw Oklahoma City do that against Memphis, the first round also. And small sample, obviously. But if you go into a 7-game series and you're such a juggernaut that you can just erase one of the games, like one game is a non-data point by the end of the first quarter, and you're like, well, you know what happened. Oklahoma City's pretty good. Denver's pretty tired. Great. Now we only got to win 3 out of 6. We don't got to win 4 to 7 anymore. If we get a free game because we're so good that the turnovers piled up in the first quarter, the bench was great right away, Shea was awesome, game over, end of the first quarter, that is huge in winning a series because now you don't have to win 3 out of the last 6, in this case 3 out of the last 5 still, but that's huge to cut that extra win off to have to be able to get that. Like, we say sometimes narrative-wise going to the city like, oh, well, they haven't had the Jokic game yet. They haven't had the Jamal Murray game yet. How about just the OKC game? We're just a billion times better than you this game, and it was never a game to start with. And it just, you don't have to have, that's not shot variance. That's just our defense swarmed you and ended you immediately. So I think for your futures position, Sean, that should make you feel very good that things are lining up well to get a game like that. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if they get another game like that still this series. Not quite that extent of it, but we said in the series preview, Denver could have some multiple really ugly losses. When the turnovers pile up, and that's what Oklahoma City gets you to do, it could really go sideways like this one. So I think it could happen again. I think it's telling. None of us are picking a side in game 3. I was on for game 2. None of us picked a side in game 2. So respect to our man, Nikola Jokic. Like we're giving the Serbian man some respect. We're willing to say, okay, I don't need my money up against Nikola.
Right.
But I think we have to feel pretty good about Oklahoma City overall. Brian was on J-Dub, assists and rebounds. Mm-hmm. I played Shea, assists and rebounds last game. Got hooked. Got the blowout, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, under 12.5. My fault a little bit because I kind of thought the blowout was coming, and I even talked about it on the podcast. But, you got to feel pretty good about that one. I'm just doing assists this time, over 6.5 assists. I don't hate the rebounds. Over 5.5 is plus money. Over 11.5 RA, that looks pretty good to me too. I think the rebounding is still there with Shea. I just like the assists better. So I'm going to just do assists for this game. He had 8 assists in game 2, even in somewhat limited minutes, 17 potential assists. Game 1, he had 8 assists also on 21 potentials. Those potentials, that's a really high number. Like he is really dwarfing Jokic in this series. He's averaging 19 potential assists, only 13 for Jokic so far. So a lot of chances for assists. And that 19 is really probably technically a little bit low because you're going to play a little bit more minutes in most of these games. Also, typically, his teammates convert just over half of his potential assists. So about half of 19 a game gives you 9.5. We're at 6.5 here. So that's a pretty big difference. I think this line is way low. It's minus 135. And I know typically you'd expect me to play the more aggressive line. Like if some of the books already have the over 7.5 at slight plus money. I'm going to just take the money on the over 6.5. minus 135, but then I'll get real aggressive with some alts. So here's some of my ideas. check the app. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to split things up yet, but last game played double-double, plus 350 at MGM for this game. I still like that because I like the rebounds too. He could get 10 rebounds. That's always in play, but I like the assists. You get 2 outs that way. You get rebounds or assists double digits. I think he probably cashes that last game if it's not a blowout. I'm going to skip ahead to 12 assists on the high end of the escalator. It's 11-1 at DraftKings. Again, if he's getting 19, 21 potentials, you get a nice shooting night. 12 assists are in play there. I think that that's a possibility. And I've mentioned the Jokic comparison. We talked about Halliburton and the assists. If Jokic isn't getting the assists, right now Shea is 2-1 to be the assist leader in the series. I still think that is a really bad line. He's leading Jokic 16-12 right now. He's up 4, and he's got more potentials both games so far. And Jokic has not been a great passer this series. I think that's how they're playing him. So I played that 6-1 before game 2. I'm going to play it again, 2-1. I think you can still jump in. And if you like that, all the way back to the Halliburton thing, at DraftKings, you can bet round 2 assist leader. If it's not Halliburton, which it's starting to look like it maybe couldn't be. In fact, it could just be that the Pacers win in 5. And that now it's not Halliburton because they took care of business quickly. That could be the reason too. If it's not Hallie, it's pretty much one of these dudes, Shea or Jokic. So if Shea beats Jokic in the series, Shea beats him in the round as well, 8-1. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit all the way around on the escalator. So just this game, over 6.5, and then we'll play some of those out as well. Real quick, Russell Westbrook, over 12.5. Nothing fancy here. Russ just plays a lot. Russ gets his shots up. He's playing with high energy. Outside of the game he left injured, he's had at least 9 shots up every single game of the postseason. He's averaging over 12 shots a game. Here's his point total. Remember, we need over 12.5. 15, 14, 21, 14, 16, 18, 19. Those are all over 12.5. Why is the line 12.5? I don't understand. Russ is getting shots up and scoring. He's averaging 16.7 a game in the playoffs. Denver doesn't have any other options. This is their entire bench. Russell Westbrook, you're the 6th man and 7th and 8th man on Denver. It's you. They're going to have to play him. It's back home in Denver. They need some energy. I think Russ should go over the points line again as well.
That makes me nervous, if I'm being completely honest, because a lot of those games you rattled off, you know who they weren't playing? The Oklahoma City Thunder. And if there's a team, like there's a lot of squads that see Russ, they're like, yo, let Russ shoot. The Thunder don't let anybody shoot. They don't care who it is. So that makes me a touch, but the energy and the activity is always going to be there for Russ. And whoever's sticking him, he's still going to get the shots up. So if you can get the volume and I think when you're betting props, the baseline should always be volume, minutes. If you can lock in, he's going to get minutes and the volume, then you just got to live and die a little bit with a number that you think is potentially low if you know he's going to be able to get shots up and do his thing. To go back to the series leading market before I kick it to you, Fonseca, something interesting still in the market right now, this series is favored to go 5 games. Total games in this series at FanDuel, 5 games is plus 152, 6 is 205, 7 is also 205. Right now, Jokic is the favorite to be the round 2 rebounding leader. Karl Anthony Towns is 2 at plus, I've seen that as high as plus 340. Now, guess what that series is favored to go? 7. So if Karl could get a couple extra games, potentially, unless the New York Knicks shock the world, baby, and win in 5 and pack those boys up, then you can throw everything I just said in the garbage. But
have you seen, Sean? Have you seen the series price, by the way, right now? It's Celtics minus 112 and Knicks minus 104.
Yeah, I did see that. So it's almost like somebody thinks the Knicks can get it done. But in all seriousness, I believe there's a really good chance that Karl Anthony Towns gets a couple extra looks, at least one game where he might be able to make up some real ground and pick up rebounding leader over Jokic in round 2. Because you know where I'm at on the Thunder. I think that this series can actually be done in 5 in favor of the Thunder. And I do think that Knicks-Celtics series it has a really strong possibility of going 7 games. So
I don't know.
I think Carl could have a couple extra games, fill out that rebounding prop just for a different angle if you want to look at that market. Brandon's awesome at that market, leaders in different categories. Take a look at some different spots, as BA alluded to. Fonseca, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't. Just a quick, because we talked about Celtics Knicks. I don't know what the fuck to do with this series anymore. I feel like everything I knew was bullshit. I feel like everything we saw in the regular season, where the Knicks were a terrible matchup, like it just goes out the window now because they're actually playing close games. And if you look at the regular season, they played one close game and it was in April, and Boston actually won it. So going into this, it's like, oh, this will be over in 5 or 6. Boston will fuck around and lose 1. Maybe they'll fuck around and lose 2. They fucked around and lost the first 2 at home. And granted, they're a great road playoff team and have been for a while. But the fact that they're still favored in this series, in this spot, even though it's very, very slight, I just don't know. Like, Celtics plus 1.5 is minus 170. And I just don't feel like betting on this series anymore. I just other than props. Like,
look,
Brandon,
listen.
Brand, like, real quick, Sean. Brandon, what, like, because you bought back in. And I thought it was very smart. And I feel like you want to buy back it. Like, you just want Boston again. So, like, tell me, because this series is making me fucking insane as somebody who's seen every possession. Just tell me things about Nick Celtics.
As somebody who has seen this series 2 years ago in the Eastern Conference Finals with your team, you've seen the one where Boston loses the first 2, and then they lost the third one too, and then they came back and almost won it until JT rolled his ankle the first minute of Game 7. Otherwise, maybe that plays out differently. To me, we've seen 4 full regular season games who the better team was very clearly each game, and we've seen in 2 playoff games very clearly who the better team was, because that team got up to a 95-97% win percentage in the game. Now, they didn't win the game. They lost the game, but that data matters. Both parts of the data matter. And if you're going to build a 20-point lead twice in a row, then I have to take that part of the data seriously. We now have 6 games of data. 4 of those, they basically won comfortably. 2 of them, they were going to win comfortably until they didn't win comfortably. So we have to take the 2 L's. I've lost a bunch of money on both the games already, but I'm going to keep believing Boston is the far superior team. Now, it might not matter because the Knicks only got to get 2 more out of 5. They might only need to get the next 2, and that's it. Like, that's the reality of sports. But if you are 95% likely to win a game 2 times in a row, the chance that you go down 0-2 is 2% after that. Like, sports happen, and we've seen sports happen, and there are a lot of reasons that this is not just random thing. It's not just random shot variance alone. That's a big part of it. There's a lot of other things here. There's the Knicks making plays. There's OG being awesome. There's Mikhail being awesome. There's Jalen Brunson being Mr. Clutch late. All those
keep it coming. Keep it coming. What else you got? What else you got,
BA? It doesn't take away from any of those things, but it also doesn't take away from the 2 20-point leads. We got like carbon copies of the exact same game, and we know how that goes. So I mentioned earlier, the whole thing with the Cavs Pacers, kind of like the Cavs a little more than the Pacers. I kind of want to invest in the Cavs. How do I do it? And I ran my whole math. I got my whole scheme set up. Down 0-2 was too big of a hole because the gap wasn't big enough. I could only get the Cavs to 30% to win the series. I think the Celtics are still so much better than the Knicks game to game, despite the 0-2 start. I still have the Celtics favored. I still have them 54% to win the series. So the pricing is about right-ish now. I'm not going to invest at that price. I did invest already last night on Celtics to win the East, because if they're winning the series, I certainly am going to like them against not the Cavs or not the healthy Cavs anymore, or whatever the Pacers have to bring, who they just beat a year ago. I'm going to like the Celtics in that series. That was plus 190. I tripled down and bought in already. I put 2.5 units in at plus 190. It's already down to plus 140 at some books. It's a good bet. We're on the right side of it. The Celtics are the better team, and if they get through the series, it won't be easy. Winning 4 or 5 games against a good Knicks team that is going to show up and punch you in the mouth and keep kicking and clawing until the end, they might lose the series. They lost the Miami series. I bet them down 0-3. I told you, Brian, after the last one, if the Celtics lose game 3 again unless something drastic happens that I haven't seen in game 1 and 2, I will come right back on buckets and bet them again to win and win the series. Again, that's how much I believe in the team. And that's how much I believe in not the Knicks. Sorry. They're the better team, but you still have to actually win the games. And you can't blow it at the end. But for all the things that have gone wrong, frankly, I don't even know who played well for the Celtics in game 2. Like Tatum was horrendous. Jaylen Brown does not look good. Porzingis is invisible this series. They might be better off with him not on the court. And they still were ahead by 20. Like, those parts both matter. And they've been ahead by 20 and have all the things go wrong and all the good Knicks things happening. And they've lost by a miracle by 1. And they've lost in overtime by a shot. For all the bad shot variants, they're 25% on 100 threes. 1 shot in each game goes the other way and rims in. And it's like, oh man, Celtics sure are fraudulent, but they're up 2-0 because, you know, the Knicks. So like, we're right there. And I'm just going to keep playing it, and I might just keep losing money, but I'm okay with that. I'm confident with the side that I'm at, and if you're better and you feel good about a side, you got to play it and be willing to live with the results, and sometimes sport's sport.
I always laugh when it comes to, not laugh, but I think it's interesting that, first, Brunson has been unbelievable in the fourth quarter. He hasn't even hit the rim.
Incredible.
The guy has not hit the rim in the fourth quarter. He's been awesome. All nylon every time he puts it up. But and to go through some of these clutch numbers, I will in a sec. It's always funny to think about these clutch stats. The reason they are clutch stats is because you can't pull away from anyone, and you're constantly in a tight game under 5 minutes. You know who doesn't have a ton of clutch points? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Because they dust off everybody every game for the most part. If you go look at his clutch numbers, you'd be like, well, what's going on here? He doesn't do anything in the clutch. Yeah, it's because he's never in the clutch. Let me give you some of these Brunson numbers.
Oh, my goodness.
Knicks have played 7 clutch time games in the playoffs so far, which is insane. Jalen Brunson leads the NBA in total clutch points, 41.
Wait, Sean.
He's had more clutch points than the Celtics in the 2 games so far.
Yes, only 2 turnovers.
You said they had 7 clutch games. They've played 8.
Yeah. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. This is
it's all but the first game when they had the 21-0 run in the fourth quarter. Otherwise, they would have had a clutch in that one as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I remember when the Heat were beating the Celtics 2 years ago, because this just happened to Boston 2 years ago. People forget. And the Heat beat them those first 2 games.
Nobody forgets that, Brian. Come on.
Okay, maybe I overstated that a little bit, but fair. I take criticism well. Heat Celtics 2 years ago. How could people forget? 2 years ago, the Heat were more like, those victories were a little more decisive. They were multiple possessions. It wasn't quite to like the very end, but like they were pretty close games, but not like that close. If that makes sense. People may remember this. Game 3, the Heat just destroyed Boston. Like, all the signs were like, oh, Boston's going to get their act right. They can steal it in Miami. They play well on the road, yada, yada, yada. And Miami that was the game where Bam was being guarded by Jaylen Brown in the post. And he spun and dunked on him and broke his ankle. And it was ridiculous. Like, they won that game almost by 30 points. And then Boston won 3 straight, capped off by the improbable Derek White game winner in game 6, and then game 7 was game 7 at that point. So I know New York City might not exist Sunday because Madison Square Garden is going to be so loud Saturday that it may just destroy the city. Like, it's going to be ridiculous. It's going to sound like I don't know what it's going to sound like. Yeah. But Sean, like, I just don't, this fucking series,
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's great theater. Enjoy it.
To the Brunson clutch thing. So I'm dating my girlfriend Katrina is more of a college basketball fan than NBA, but so she's been watching more NBA with me this year as we're dating. And of course, I picked Pistons last round, so she's watched some Pistons Knicks with me because she picked the Knicks for our Survivor contest that we're in. And so we watched together the Brunson shot. You know, the shot where Sarr got up into oblivion, like off the Zoom, off the face of the earth, off Kyrie's edge of the planet, off into nowhere. She watched that one. And so I explained to her about the clutch award and Jalen Brunson and how he won the award and he always hits the big shots at the end. So she's taken she's still learning. She knows all the team names. She's very confused and annoyed by why are some cities and some are states and some are Golden State. Like, what is that? We're learning a lot on the fly. Jalen Brunson doesn't have a name yet. Jalen Brunson has a name. It's Mr. Clutch. She's just taken to calling him Mr. Clutch. So we're watching the game last night, and I'm commenting like, here we are again, same as last time. They're down by 20. It's the third quarter. It's the exact same thing. I hate this stupid team because we waste our time watching the game, and now here we are. But I guess we got to leave it on just in case it's game one. So it's getting closer, closer, closer. And toward the end, and she knows I'm doing the Celtics thing. I'm on the Celtics, and she's like, why do they keep letting Mr. Clutch get the ball? Why would they let Mr. Clutch have the ball? And like, you know, he gets fouled by Drew. Terrible defense by Drew Holiday, by the way. Like, just over aggressive foul, gave Brunson the free throws. And she's like, why would they foul Mr. Clutch? He's clearly going to make the free throws. He's Mr. Clutch. And I'm like, I know. This is the one thing I'm thinking about the Knicks right now. So, you know, Mr. Clutch. Sorry to Jerry West, but I guess the name has passed on now.
32 shot attempts in the clutch. The next closest guy in the playoffs is Halliburton at 14 attempts.
But he's made what? He's made 30 of the 32 is what it feels like.
It's what it feels like. I don't have that number, but it does really feel that way. That'll do it for Buckets Friday edition. For Brandon Anderson, for Bryan Fonseca, I am your host, Sean Little. Go sign up for Underdog if you haven't already. Go subscribe to the Action Network YouTube page so you can see our beautiful faces if you're just listening to the audio. Tons of stuff over at the Action Network with hockey going on, NBA going on. Go check out actionnetwork.com. Go download the award-winning app. Until next time, which is tomorrow, let's get buckets.